Red Roof in Spooks. My story begins on a road trip through New York State to somewhere in Virginia State. Late at night, we decide to stop at a hotel along the way. This particular inn was located upon a hill. It branched out, continuing along as a second floor, while a new first floor popped out of the hill at the bottom. I was hoping our room wouldn't be adjacent to the hill part. Our luck, we got a room just next to it on the first floor. We walked down the hill and around. It was kind of creepy as it was in a kind of corner where there were apparently not many other cars in the parking lot. As the door opened, we see, wow, 70s and 80s blast from the past, complete with a super thin comforter. The only thing new was this huge boxy TV. We joked around about it being a good investment, as we set the timer for a couple of test runs. After knowing the TV timer worked, we lay down and passed right out from exhaustion. Next thing I know, I'm being pulled downwards. Lying on my tummy, I swear, I was being pulled down by my feet and ankles. Being so exhausted, I climbed up thinking it was the guy I was with playing a trick on me. Just wanting to sleep, I mentioned a few choice words and proceeded to keep my sleep. I remember talking to someone, still eyes closed, half sleeping, off my side, and I can't tell what was being said, but I really thought it was an exhaustion conversation with the guy I was with. Anyways, I wake up to a feeling of being pulled 2 more times, each time getting more and more frustrated at the guy. I murmur, "Stop it," as I swiggle up the bed beside him. Finally, the last time, I swear on my tummy, something had my legs, pulling me slowly off the bottom of the bed again. Fed up, I walk right up and shout, "Stop pulling my legs!" As I'm crawling back to my man, shouting this, I whack him on the chest. He wakes up very surprised. "What the fuck, man? I'm sleeping." I was so angry, I said, "Stop pulling my legs." He sat up and said, "How can I be pulling your legs? I was sleeping here." We looked at each other, looked at the TV which was on, and thought it was time to get up anyways. We looked for the remote, which we had on the bed when we passed out. We looked everywhere. The remote was way over on the window ledge, and it was hours before the timer was set on the TV. I immediately said, "Let's get out of here." He was skeptical and got up to use the washroom. I was getting my stuff together when suddenly he comes flying out of the washroom saying, "Get your shit," which of course I did. Half in pajamas, we flew out of the room and didn't look back. He never told me what he saw in the washroom. Later he mentioned something about things being unlocked, that he locked or opened that he personally closed. I don't know, he never really talked about it. He was a Marine, so whatever it was must have been really shocking. Needless to say, that was a really creepy experience. The Roger Williams Inn. About a month ago, my boyfriend and I went on a retreat in Green Lake, Wisconsin. We stayed on the grounds of a conference center. Thankfully, not in the building my experience happened in. I should explain that this was a very religious event, and that I have more than a few qualms about posting this here. My boyfriends and all the friends I was with are very religious, and I am not. I'm only just beginning to understand most of these things. I did explain to them what happened, and they told me, due to my parent conversion, that it was a battle between God and Lucifer for my soul. Personally, I don't think so. My boyfriend was with me during the experience, and he claims it may have been something demonic. I do think I've had something attached to me for a while, and I may post more about it at some point, but it's something I don't like to think about too often. We had gone away from the large group meeting because I had a headache, and there was loud music playing. The building next door was the Roger Williams Inn. Built in about 1930 or so, this property is very old and has been gradually built for about 150 years. There's an old Civil War prison near the entrance. This is where we had gone to register and where some of the seminars were held. The first floor had a split-level hallway where bedrooms used to be. One of these empty rooms had been designed for prayer. There was nobody around, so we went in. We'd only been in there long enough to look around, and I had the feeling that something did not want me there. My boyfriend shrugged it off, and we sat on the floor in the middle of the room. He began praying, and no sooner had he invoked the name of God than I received a hard shove forward. Something had placed its hands on my shoulders and pushed me. There was no one else in the room. I sat facing the door and would have noticed if somebody had come in. I stood up and started gathering my things, blathering that I wasn't staying in there 1 second longer, when I began to feel very nauseous. I dropped my stuff and bolted into the adjoining bathroom, dry heaving. He came in after me and asked if I was all right. I was perched on the edge of the tub, coughing, when a large trunk of plaster fell from the ceiling into the tub, inches from my head. As I said, this building is very old and looks as though it's never been renovated. Parts of it are probably structurally unsound. He got me back up into the room and insisted that we pray together. After a few minutes, whatever it was dissipated, and I was calm enough that I could get up and leave. A few nights later, I was sitting alone in our apartment. We lived together. He was at work, when I heard the sound of falling plaster from the bathroom. There is no plaster in the bathroom. The walls are concrete block and the ceiling is tile. A while later, when he was back, I was sitting with my back against the arm of the couch and something began pulling my hair. I'm a bit worried about this because if it is what I think it is or was attached to me, the last time it touched me, I ended up with bruises and scratches on my arms and body. I was completely freaked out and started swatting at it, only to find nothing tangible there. He grabbed my arms and again insisted on praying. It's gone for now, but I'm worried it might come back if it knows I'm trying to figure out what it is. Ghostly gatherings at the inn. First, about the inn itself. A couple years ago, I worked at the 1927 Lake Lure Inn and Spa in a beautiful Lake Lure, North Carolina. The facade of the inn is pale yellow stucco with hunter green shutters. Inside, the lobby is very spacious and filled with the current owner's antiques and memorabilia from days gone by from the inn. President Franklin D. Roosevelt and his wife stayed at the inn during their trip to western North Carolina. Actors and directors from the movie Dirty Dancing stayed there as well, and so did many other movie stars and musicians. This is a place to really get away from it all. Antiques tastefully dot the upstairs areas and the rooms itself. The original owner was a Dr. Louis Morse. He fell in love with the area and wanted to build a hotel there. So around 1925 to 1926, the inn was being built, and in 1927, it was finally opened as the Lake Lure Inn. It was said that he did not live to see the grand opening of the hotel. During World War II, the U.S. Army commissioned the inn, and the men serving during the war would stay there and relax or recover from the wounds they had endured. There are many pictures of these soldiers and their families having a grand old time there at the inn. The ghost stories. When I first started working at the inn, I felt a little uneasy. It felt like there was 1,000 eyes looking at you wherever you went. I was first made aware of the ghosts when I was working in the spa area. I was there late at night alone while cleaning and disinfecting the spa and washing the linens. I always saw shadows move down there. The spa was where I felt most scared when I was alone. Once, I was working the morning shift and was helping to do spa laundry. I walked through there alone while carrying some linen. I heard my name being said by what sounded like a man with a low, gravelly voice. I dropped the linens and ran out there as fast as I could. I ran to my supervisor's office, and she remarked that I looked like I'd just seen a ghost. I told her I didn't see one, but one had called my name. She thought it was funny, until something similar happened to her. Many guests who have stayed there have reported that a woman would come into their rooms at night and either tuck them in or just stand there by the bed smiling at them. Some of the guests have packed the bags and left during the middle of the night because of that. One housekeeper said that one Sunday morning, a lady walked by her wearing old-fashioned clothes, and the housekeeper asked if she needed anything. The lady replied no and floated down the hallway. That housekeeper quit, unfortunately. Other housekeepers have reported that glasses would break while they were in the rooms cleaning, that a couple of the TVs would turn themselves off and on at will, and the beds, which were freshly made, would have an imprint on them as if someone had sat on the bed. There has been a rumor going around for years that a lady was killed by her boyfriend or husband at the inn during the 30s or 40s. She had bellied up to the bar there and was flirting with a patrolman. Her boyfriend or husband became jealous and enraged, so later, when they got to room 215, he killed her. The night auditors have reported seeing a male figure in the dining room. He would be seen standing by the grand fireplace. They say this ghost looks like Louis Morse, because there's a painting of him in the lobby. They have also reported seeing a smoky-like fog descending the grand staircase. There have been 2 ghost investigations done at the inn in recent years. They have reported to catch the EVPs of a woman screaming, the EVP in the spa telling one of the investigators to get out, and even called his name, like it did to me. There are some other speculations that the antiques that the owner has brought in may have some ghost attached to them. They may very well be more than the 3 known ghosts that dwell within the grounds of the 1927 Lake Lure Inn and Spa. If you're ever out visiting Asheville and the surrounding area, take a trip to the Lake Lure area.